Hey fellas, I'm back. I just ate, well no I didn't, that's a lie. So what I was gonna do, last video, I went to go eat dinner and I was gonna film this, but then I went to go, sleep. So now it's the next day and we're actually filming this. I'm ranking all the One Piece arcs. Yes sir, thank God. And it's about to go crazy. Alright, wait, how many arcs are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 different arcs. Let me just say the arcs in order. We got Romance Dawn, Orange Town, Syrup Village, Baratier. Oh yeah. Romance Dawn, Orange Town, Syrup Village, Baratier. After Baratier is Arlong Park. Then Log Town, Reverse Mountain. What's after Reverse Mountain? Barboak Works. Fucking. What's after Barboak Works? What is it? Little Garden, Drum Island, and finally Alabasta. Those are all the arcs in One Piece. Or at least in the East Blue Saga. Okay? So, let's get to it. Now, number 11. I guess this would technically the honorable mention if I was going to do a top 10 One Piece arcs, because I've only read 10 One Piece arcs. So, at number 11, we have, not surprisingly, I don't know, Barboak Works, Volume 13, I guess. There's just, nothing's, the arc isn't bad at all. Even if it's last, it's not bad at all. There's some really good panels in here. There's also some really bad panels in here. Also, the fight with Zoro and Luffy, it's drawn well, but, it doesn't make any sense. Why would Luffy, want to fight his own crewmates? That's completely out of character. It's a good introduction arc, for Vivi and Igraham, and it's a good introduction arc for Alabasta, and the inclusion from Miss All Sunday, also known as Nico Robin, is pretty sick. The way they do it is pretty cool. But other than that, it's kind of okay, And just because it's an introduction arc doesn't mean it has to be boring. Romance Dawn was an introduction arc. Orange Town was an introduction arc. Actually, the first 4 arcs were introduction arcs for a character. And they were still all great. So, this one kind of just, dropped the ball. But, like with Oda, good pacing, good writing. The fact that Zoro literally, killed 1,000 people at once is pretty sick. Really shows how powerful he is. And also, just, I guess you would say power system. Just the way they do all the numbers and stuff is pretty cool. So, but it does have pretty big flaws, so I'm going to have to put it in last place. Next, after Baroque Works, we have Logtown. Now, I'm using volume 11 for Logtown. Don't know why. I actually really like this arc. Introduction to Smoker, really cool. The fact that, God chose Luffy to live was also a pretty cool part. Then, the return of Buggy and Alvida, for some reason she's back, was pretty sick. And I would like to say the arc is pretty paced pretty well. But other than that, it still doesn't have a lot going for it. Right, the introduction with Zoro, getting his new swords, and that shit where he just threw this shit up and put his arm out was really cool. But other than that, there's not really any standout moments. It's just kind of stuff happens with Usopp and Sanji, where it's and that, I think the anime actually did this arc better, because I heard that Oda wanted to do a bunch of other stories with Usopp and Nami and Sanji, but because of the time crunch, he wasn't able to. So instead of, so he just skipped them over in the manga and just did it in the anime instead. So I think the anime is actually better with this arc. Alright, give me 1 second. Sorry, 1 second. So, arc's pretty good, but not much going for it after that. You know. Next. The next arc we have in here. Why is this so bent? Like, why? We have. I'm trying to do this correctly. Yeah, that's fine. Alright. Next we have Little Garden. Little Garden is actually a great arc. Now that I reminiscent on it, like I thought it was okay the first time I read it, and then I read it a second time, and I actually really liked it. Problem I have here is there's some pacing issues. The main problem I have it gets kind of boring in the middle part where Karu and Usopp are running, and then they leave, and then they run again, and Luffy's stuck under a rock, and it's kind of just like get it over with. But there's some great moments in this, and some really funny moments, like when Zoro is, you know, in the thing, and he wanted to like hit a cool pose. That was pretty funny. Also, the talk between Crocodile and Sanji was really good. Love that. Beautifully written. How tense of a moment. Especially since you don't know how powerful he's gonna be. Usopp gets a good moment in here. Also sets up Drum Island, which is maybe potentially my favorite arc. Maybe not my favorite arc. Who knows? We'll see. Okay. But I gotta say, this arc is beautiful. Not beautiful, but it's really great. I love it. 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. High 7 out of 10. Almost amazing, just some really bad pacing issues. It can get boring in the middle. That's what I would say. And the art is pretty good too in here. And Mr. 3 is a menacing villain. Like crazily. But the characters of Mr. 5 and Miss Wednesday are here for like no reason, and they serve no purpose. And I feel no threat to them whatsoever. But they're still there for some reason. So, you know. What are you gonna do? Alright, next we got, is it? Yeah, Reverse Mountain. I really like this arc, especially with Alboon. Oh my god, what a beautiful story. I cried. First arc to make me cry. Spoiler alert, the rest of these arcs do also make me cry, so. Well, not that one. That one doesn't make me cry. But the arc, this one, yes, it made me cry. So, good for them. Beautiful writing, beautiful art. Not much I can say. Other than it's really good. So I say 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, number 7. Alright, number 7 goes to Orange Town. Buggy, one of the best villains in One Piece that I've read to. I've read to Alabasta. Especially his two like side men. Love those guys. Luffy is just, he's like, at this point in the arc, it like refurnished my mainstay of how do I explain this? It showed me who Luffy really is as a person. Especially when the dog's house like blew up and then he got his treasure back. What a fucking sad story. Made me cry, too. We get introduction to Nami, which is one of my favorite characters. I mean, I kind of didn't really like her until Arlong Park. Okay, stay roll. Until Arlong Park, now she's one of my favorite characters in One Piece. But, yeah, every part of this arc is pretty cool. So, I'm going to put it there. Number 7. Now number 6, we're getting into the top 5, okay? You know what, yeah, let me replace this with this one. I think this one's number 6. We have the first arc in One Piece, Romance Dawn. This just includes the part with Shanks and when he meets Kobe. That's all it includes, that's it. And Helmeppo and stuff like that. And what I really like about this arc, and you know, also introduce Zoro, is the world building. You know, still with Zoro, and the introduction to my two favorite characters right now. Zoro's not part of that. Luffy and Zoro, great characters. Introduction of those two, love it. Also, literally every other part of it, I can't explain why I like it so much. There's not really much going for it. Like, if I was ranking this subjectively, and, you know, someone else might have, they might put it between, like, you know, Log Town and Little Garden. Or maybe, like, Reverse Town and Little Garden. Between there. I don't know why. I just love this arc so much. It brings me so much joy to read. Just, I don't know why. I think it's just the part with Shanks where he's like this adult Luffy. And especially when you read the next chapters over, you can see how Luffy's or Shanks' ideals projected onto Luffy, which is so cool to read. I don't know why. And the art's great. The art is great too. And it was just a great introduction to One Piece. Especially as I was first reading it, it was a great introduction to One Piece. If it wasn't this good, I probably would have taken the box set and just, you know, shipped it back to Books A Million where I bought it. So, good for them for making a good arc. Because if they didn't, I wouldn't have read it. So, next arc, we have Syrup Village. Now, maybe some people might say I put this a bit too high. In my opinion, this is one of the best arcs in One Piece up until Island Park. What's it called? Alabasta. One of the best arcs. And it's just with the character of Usopp, because his introduction, I think, is one of the best in the series. The way that he's like portrayed as this liar guy who you kind of want to root for, but kind of not. You don't really like him very much. And especially that part where he's talking to, you know, Captain Kuro, or Klahadore, or whatever his name is. And even though he, you know, attacked him, it seemed like he was so mature about it, right? Because you see him, he's a liar, he's a cheat, he's rude to people, you know? But when you see him with Miss Kaya, you see this entirely different side to him. He's nice, he plays around with her. And yes, he lies, but, you know, they're laughing. That's not really a big problem. And then you get the confrontation between Klahadore and Usopp, and you get their conflict, and you get two different sides to it. And, you know, obviously Usopp has this thought of his dad where he's a great warrior of the sea. He went to go travel the seas, and I want to be just like him. But he also has this juxtaposition with Klahadore where he says, no, your dad's a fucking pirate. He's a fucking criminal. You know, and you get that great conflict and juxtaposition where they each stand up in their own right, and you can't really agree with one another, right? Obviously, at the end of the story, Usopp is, you know, is, I guess, triumphant. But, you know, even if Klahadore is being extremely rude, like, what the fuck, bro? You don't have to say it. Like we get it. You don't have to do that. Even being extremely rude, you kind of have to agree with him. Because his dad did leave his dying wife and his child alone. You know? And what really sold the arc for me, like, the fight isn't very good. The introduction to D. Django is actually pretty cool. I actually like D. Django. He's one of my favorite characters. But the three moments that are like that I really like in this arc. Actually 4. 5. Okay. First one, it's when Kaya slaps him because he's like trying to save her. And obviously from our perspective, you know, he's trying to save her. But then when she's like, I can't believe you lied to me all this time. Can't believe you did this and this and this. And she's accusing him of all these things. It's like, you understand why, you know, that she's saying all these things to Usopp. But it's also like, it makes you just like, it makes you hate Kaya, but also, well, it doesn't make you hate Kaya. It gives a character that you like conflict without making it like, why out of character. Obviously, this would be in character with Kaya because she knew Usopp lied to him all this time and that he's just saying another lie. Why would she not think that? And obviously from our perspective, because we know that Usopp is not lying, that he's correct, but she doesn't know that, and it has this great conflict in between it. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a writer. Next moment, it's when Usopp is talking to the Usopp pirates, and they're like, "We got to get Captain Kuro," and he was like, "Nah, guys, I just made that up." And then they're insulting him and stuff. And that kind of also goes with the one that's where he's like, "Okay, when this is all done, don't tell anybody." When he talks to the Usopp pirates, he says, "Don't tell anybody that this happened." And they're like, "Why? Don't you want to get the credit?" And he's like, "No, they don't need to know about this stuff. They don't need to know that pirates came here. They don't need to." And it's a really mature thing for Usopp to say. Especially since throughout his introduction, he was, a troll. He was basically a troll. Where he was lying all the time, saying that the pirates were coming. And it's a really mature thing for him to say that. That's not something you would expect from him. But, that is just part of his personality. Also, last two moments. My next moment is when he says that it's the flashback between him and his mom, and his mom's like, "Yeah, your father was a great warrior of the sea," and he's like, "I want to be just like you," and he's crying, and then they're talking about the flashback. Miss Kaya and her butler, and Butler goes, "I think Usopp was always screaming about pirates, about his dad, because he actually wanted it to happen." And that just hurt so much. I don't know why. That one part just hurt me so much. And then my final moment is when he leaves the Usopp pirates and he's like, "What's your dream?" And they all say their dreams and he's like, "Okay, I demand you, my final demand, my final request, my final order, fulfill those damn dreams. And become proud of yourselves and become the Usopp pirates." And he's crying and he's like, "Yes, you can do it." And they're all crying. Oh my God, that just hit different. That moment actually hit different for me. I love that. I fucking love that. I don't know why. It just hit me in my soul. I was like, hey. It hit me in my soul. Alright, number 4, Baratier. So many good moments in this one. I want to say number 4 and number 3 are tied. I can't choose which one's better. I'm sorry. It's between Baratier and Arlong Park. They both have so many good moments. And this one, the moment with him and Nami, where Nami asks him to save him, and he's like, "Luffy," when she's back here and she's stabbing her shoulder and shoulder. Luffy. Bruh. And that moment when she's stabbing her shoulder too, that part got me. When she's threatening her village because she wants to do all this by herself, and then the freaking guy with the pinwheel head, he literally goes to him and she takes the knife. He's like, "It's okay. You've done enough. You're okay. You can rest now." And then they go off to war. Oh my God, what a good moment. The walk, when they're walking to Alabasta. Bro, Usopp's triumphant moment where bro literally goes, "Usopp hammer, Usopp hammer," and kills Chu. Oh my fucking God. Beautiful moment. Bro, when Zoro hit that spinny shit against Hachi, what the fuck was even that? Nah, bro. Bro, when he destroyed Nami's room, and he went, and then it destroyed everything else. And don't even get me started on Bellamere-san. Girl literally went, "I love you." She was off the wall. She got me crying too much. And then let's go to Briate. The fact that Gin can't kill Sanji because of the kindness. Ooh, perfect moment right there. Sanji's backstory too. Amazing. The fact that all the chefs were lying to Sanji about how his food was shit so that he can leave and go on his own adventure. Oh my god. The part where Sanji is being so cold to Luffy, and then when Luffy asks him what's his dream, he suddenly brightens up with excitement talking about the all blue because no one else has asked him before, and no one else believed it. And obviously he would feel excited for sharing something that he loves. Oh! Oh my god, the fight with Don Krieg was great. He's actually a villainous man, okay? The fact that Sanji went to go save Luffy down under, oh, don't even get me started on the Mihawk fight. Oh my god. I'm sorry. These two arcs are so good. They're actually perfection. I can't tell you which one I like better. They're so good. And that's the same thing for the next two. You want to know what the next two are? The fuck, Alabasta and Drum Island, bitch. Oh my god. Nah, it's too good. It's too good. One Piece is too good. It actually cannot exist. There isn't, how? How? There's no way. Again, I think overall, objectively, Alabasta is a better arc. But Drum Island just holds such a special place in my heart. For some ungodly reason. I don't know why. It just holds such a special place in my heart. Especially with that scene with Dr. Heloic. It was handled so amazingly, so perfectly. I don't know why. If I were to say the better arc, it would be Alabasta. Most definitely. But if I said which one I would want to read again or reminisce on or, or something like that, or just my favorite arc in general, the one I connect the most to, it would be Drum Island. Chopper's story is so beautiful. It's so gorgeous. It's so amazing. I absolutely love it. That could be its own every single one of these arcs could be its own like one shot or manga instead. Like it could be its own shit. Right? And this arc just hits so different to me for some reason. I don't know why. And all the arcs, it resonated in me on such a different level than any of the other arcs ever could have dreamed of. And I don't know how. I actually don't know how. I can't put into words how much I love Drum Island. Like, the villain is terrible. Waffle is terrible. There's some pacing issues. Especially with the rabbits. Some of the art isn't that great. And it gets kind of boring when Dalton's, like, trying to explain the lore of the place. But just that one moment when Dr. Heloic goes, "Stop. You can't kill me. There's going to be a monster coming soon. He's my son. Don't hurt him." And he goes, and he says a speech, "When do you think a man dies?" When he's, dies from a deadly disease? No. When he drinks a deadly poison from or drinks a soup from, made with a deadly mushroom? No. Or when he's shot point blank with a gun? No. A man dies when he is forgotten. He pours himself a drink one last time, and he goes, "Thank you, Chopper. Thank you for this life, and what a life it's been." And then he drinks his drink, and Dr. Kino, same thing, they both drink, and the thing blows up. And Chopper's still running, and running, and running, and the hat falls down, and he sees it. And he's battling Dalton, and Dalton goes, "Stop. You don't want to be here. Leave." And he leaves, and he starts waving the flag, and he's crying, and he goes, oh my god. It's actually getting emotional just talking about it. He says, "I'll cure any cure. I'll make a cure that can cure any disease. And I'll become the best doctor the world's ever seen." Bro, that shit hits so different. Oh my, I'm gonna have to read it again maybe. I don't know. Whenever I feel like whenever I have a down time, or whenever I feel down, I read that arc, and it just like gives me energy. Oh my. That shit was so sad. I can't even describe how sad it was. Alright. That's all the One Piece arcs ranked. Go away now. I gave my opinion. I'll start doing more of these videos in the next saga, which is Skypiea and Water 7 and stuff like that. And then the next saga of my One Piece reacts, and then the next one, and then probably by the time I get to Wano, that'll be like another 2 box sets out. I don't know how long One Piece is going to be. I think we're in like, people have said we're probably in the final saga where One Piece is going to end like soon. Maybe in the next, I don't know, 1,000 chapters it'll end. Who the fuck knows at this point? He'll do like year 29 or whatever. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I really don't. So, that's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching. Actually, thank you.